I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on GBN, we're uncovering the astonishing true story behind an amazing book. It is called Help Yourself, a real-life journey from industrial repairman to the shadowy world of intelligence and espionage. It is written by a terrific author. His name is Martin Kaiser III, and in the book, he reveals how one wrong turn outside a Baltimore brewery led him into manufacturing bugging and counterintelligence equipment for America's top intelligence agencies, including the FBI. What followed was success, scandal, congressional testimony, and a dramatic collapse when everything unraveled. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put him on TV today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below this interview. Marty, thank you so much for being my guest today.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Great to have you on the show. Tell us how that one wrong turn changed your life forever.
The whole story is in my congressional testimony, and this document is kind of a perverted document. When I was asked by the Congressional Committee to prepare a report about the FBI marking up my invoices, I did just that. And I gave it to the committee, Rick Vermeer and Tim Oliphant, who were the investigators for the committee, and they left with my little report. As it turned out, they rewrote that report. And when I appeared to testify, their modified report was in front of me and not my real report. So that caused a big problem. And I felt sorry about the the congressmen, because they're all looking back and forth at each other, looking at the testimony in front of them, and saying, what's going on here? And nobody knew the direction of things. And I stayed as close as I could to the truth without offending somebody, so to speak. And when you read this testimony, there is absolutely nothing that criticizes the FBI. Absolutely nothing. It's just a normal sequence of events in my doing business with them. And next thing you know, they don't like me. And it was amazing. I testified, let's see, when was this? Oh, they don't have a date on here. Oh, December 10, 1975. That's the day my life fell apart. I had hundreds, if not thousands, of intelligence agency customers worldwide. And the day after my testimony, I had zero. All just vanished into the blue. And fortunately, I hate to say it, there were enough people killing each other out there in the world that my bomb disposal equipment was what carried me through all the difficulty. It provided me with the income to fight this story. And here we are 50 years later, and the story is still going on. It's just incredible. I never figured it out, how you could have thousands of friends one day and none the next day. That's literally what happened.
Amazing. Amazing. I think that's kind of the story of life. If you learn to deal with betrayal, you'll be a lot better off, because it's going to happen to all of us eventually. Let me ask you this. What was it like, and how did you begin manufacturing bugging and counter-bugging equipment?
I started my own company in 1965, and that was after I returned from Barbados, where I developed the over-horizon radar system for the U.S. And I didn't exactly know what I was going to do when I picked up the Yellow Pages, and the first company was Armco Steel. And I called them and just asked them if they had anything that was broken, and of course they said yes, lots of things break in steel mills. So they gave me a thing called a Curtis Immerscope, which is a imaging system that can look down a red hot steel ingot and find bubbles and cracks or anything that's in that ingot. So it's a very valuable tool, and they've been doing without it for a while. So it took me overnight to fix it and take it back to them, and they were overjoyed. And the maintenance guy sat me down, and he called a whole bunch of his equivalents in industries throughout Baltimore And the next day I had over 50 customers. I
Wow.
had all the copper refineries, the breweries, the bottling companies. Oh, just an incredible collection of people. And one day I was at American Brewery, which is my favorite brewery. And it's the oldest brewery in the United. No, not no. I think the one in Pottsville beats them. Um, but anyhow, I had my share of beer, and when I left, instead of turning right, I turned left. I was
Mm.
lost in downtown Baltimore, and finally saw a sign over a gate that said U.S. Army Intelligence, Fort Hollywood, Maryland. I thought, well, they have to have something broken in there. So and that was my major pitch. So I went and knocked on the door that said supplies, and convinced them that I could repair things. And they had shelf after shelf after shelf of broken equipment.
Mm.
And I started repairing it, and that they were just absolutely amazed with what I had done. Um, One of the things that I did on a regular basis were lie detectors. And lie detectors have a little lever on them that when you're done using them, you pull the lever over and it freezes all the styluses so the styluses can't move. And
Mm.
people throw that lever. So the styluses would jump out of their seat and it'll get out of it wouldn't wiggle anymore. So all I had to do was just loosen the screw, put the stylus back where it belonged, and put it back in, and they were fixed. Well, one of the interesting things I learned about them is that if you put a button battery, like the battery in the wristwatch or that, between your toes, if you squeeze your toes while you're being interviewed, the needle will fly all over the place. So, but the other thing that I noticed is that they were using commercially available equipment to do intelligence work. Uh, Off the shelf stuff. The only thing that wasn't really commercial was made by the name escaped me right now, but the A2 receiver. Can't remember the name of the company that made it, but it was between that intelligence receiver, countermeasure receiver, and intelligence receiver, and the rest of this commercially made stuff. So I said, well, why don't I make some stuff for you? And the very first product I whipped out was a audio amplifier that could be used for both monitoring and eavesdropping. And
Mm.
over the years, I've sold 15,000 of them. So let me show you a picture of what it looks like. It doesn't look like much, but when you stop and think about how it was generated, I don't know, is this, let's see if it's going to show up on there. Uh,
Yeah.
there it is. Okay.
Okay.
In a black box with lettering on it. I had a sheet metal man who became my standard supplier, and he made the box for me. I made the silk screen. I laid out the silk screen. Another company actually manufactured the silk screen. So all the pretty lettering on there was put on one letter at a time by me. By the way, my company rarely got over me and a part-time secretary.
Mm.
When you figure I've dealt with queens and kings and emperors and
Yeah.
dictators, all that kind of, how the hell I did it is absolutely beyond me.
Amazing. When did you first realize that there was corruption within the system?
Didn't take long,
Mm.
especially when I started dealing with the Drug Enforcement Administration. And many of those guys I was dealing with were actually drug dealers. And
Mm.
sort of had to walk a tight line to stay honest with them and not get everybody in trouble. So that really started it. And then it just sort of was, as I stayed in the business, I was in that business for 50 years. Uh, as each agency came online with me, uh, it didn't take long for me to undercover the bad guys, so to speak, that weren't
Yeah.
playing the game the way the game was supposed to be played. So
And they were marking up receipts, right?
yeah,
And invoices.
the built into the omnibus crime bill, which is the thing that regulates the manufacture of bugging equipment, was a clause that it had to have a 5-year automatic review. And the congressional committee, knowing that I was a manufacturer of bugging equipment, sent 2 investigators over to talk to me about it.
Mm.
And when they told me what they were trying to do, All I did was open a file. The file drawers had bugging equipment, and there were all the files of all the intelligence agencies I did business with in the United States and worldwide. And sitting in the middle of all those files was U.S. Recording Company. And they said, well, what's this company? It's in the bugging file. I said, well, that's the FBI. They go, whoa, wait a second here. So the, I think they uncovered the marked up invoice at that time. I haven't looked at my testimony lately, but that's when they discovered the marked up invoice. And I can still remember passing by that desk and the man that was sitting at it, Bill Harwood, and there's my invoice marked with the price scratched out, and the new price put in. I thought, whoa, what's this? So I mentioned that to him, and that was the thing that broke the dam. Really,
Yeah.
really the problem.
How did it feel being investigated after working alongside these agencies?
Uh, that's a good question. I don't know if I really consider myself investigated. It was like being struck by a thunderbolt when they said, "Oh, we're going to criminally indict you," and I go, "What for?" Because I was playing by all the rules, and
Right.
they found a reason to indict me, and that was a fun game.
I'm sure.
I've known so many super patriots in this country, and all of them got the same short shifts that I did.
Hmm.
Frank Turple personally removed Idi Amin from Uganda. He personally removed Jean-Claude Duvalier from Haiti. He went over and told Muammar Gaddafi, said, "Hey, Mo, stop killing people." And
Hmm.
Gaddafi cut the killing in half. And next thing, he went in and he was one of the investigators for the Arab-Israeli conflict. So
Hmm.
these are the kind of things he did. And he went to Jamaica and they arrested him as being a terrorist, threw him in jail. And after his first night's sleep, he woke up, the jail door was wide open, nobody was in the jail. He walked out the door, got in a cab, went to Washington, got his passport, flew to Cuba, and that's where he spent the rest of his life.
Amazing.
Also,
Amazing.
same kind of fate. It really did. It's sad.
Back to your story, you were forced to testify or testified before the House Select Committee. Overnight, just about, you lost your intelligence contracts. Eventually, after this betrayal by these agencies that you supported, you ultimately closed your business. What was it like after that point? What was it like emotionally? What was it like rebuilding your life?
Uh, well, unfortunately, I suffered serious abuse when I was a child, so I was used to abuse. And I just took it in stride. Uh, it just seemed like part of the continued psychological and physical abuse that I suffered. And I was prepared for it, actually, psychologically. And I never really broke down and cried or anything like that. I just took it as it came. Uh, I had enough confidence in my ability to carry me through, and it proved I was right. So
Yeah.
I hope I answered your question.
No, absolutely, absolutely. You know, you did the best you could under extraordinary circumstances, and you were able to rebuild your life. And here we are, 50 years later, talking about it, writing about it, and it's a fascinating story. Folks, you don't want to miss Martin's amazing real life, true life story of working with the FBI, being betrayed by them, being forced to testify, and eventually losing his business. It's something out of a movie. I think this would be a terrific film, actually. I think we'll have George Clooney. We have to get a younger man because you were young back then. So we got to get a young George Clooney to play the part of Martin, and that would be great. But the name of the book is Help Yourself. It is a gripping true story of espionage, corruption, and the devastating cost of crossing the wrong people who are in power. Marty, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Can I show you one more closing?
Absolutely.
I don't know if you that it, this is the notice of my acquittal. The not guilty, not guilty, not guilty.
Wonderful.
It cost me $200,000 in 2028, 20, I'm sorry, $1980. Today, that would cost $768,000.
Maybe even more than that. Things are so expensive today. It cost you $200,000 back then. I bet you it costs close to $2 million today.
There it is, $786,000.
Amazing.
So,
Amazing. Well,
yeah,
thank God you had the wherewithal to pay for a good criminal defense. You were an innocent man. You were proved to be an innocent man. And we're grateful that you documented it in this book for generations to come and read about. Marty, thanks for your time today. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford for the Global Book Network. So long for now.